Okay, let's start on this side of the dinette section. You can see down here, there's your water heater right there, is behind that grill. And then the water heater buttons right there and the indicator light. Let me get down here at this level. There's your GFI, the actual buttons on your GFI. So you have this GFI here, the actual GFI outlets. Then there's a set of outlets outside that we already looked at, and then there's one more set of outlets that I'll show you. This is really nice to have. This is your carbon monoxide detector, and it's a propane gas alert. Propane is heavier than air. It's going to settle lower. So if you had a propane leak in here, this sensor would go off, and you could open the doors and get the heck out. The speaker, we have two internal speakers, one external speaker. And then right here is our fuse panel. You got your normal breakers here, right, for your 110 volts. And then you've got regular automotive fuses for all of your 12 volt stuff. So through your refrigerator and your lights and your inverters and all that kind of stuff. So it's a nice little block right there with a little push to lock. I like that. It's nicely done. This panel comes out actually, and you have to excuse me, I'm going to take it out of the way. All right, so under here there's our hot water. Is this our hot water, or this is our, oh, that's our furnace. Yep, my mistake. Here's your hot water heater over here. That was my mistake. That's your regular furnace. The AC unit is down over that way. So there's your furnace. This is the controls for your hot water heater though over here. You can see this is that high pressure hose outlet that we had going there. Here's your 110 coming in right there. And then just all of the electronics and the wiring. They have bypass valves are already in here. You can see there's 3 of them. And you can see it is bypassed right now. The hot's closed, the cold's closed, and the bypass is open. They said it had been winterized. So that's winterized and ready to go. Once we warm it up a little bit more and I'm ready, I'll open those up. Because if I'm going to go, out and do some boondocking, I'm going to want the full 26 gallons. I'm going to want the 20 that's underneath. And then once that's full, I'm going to turn the water pump on and turn on like one of the hot water spigots and get all the air out of this unit and get another 6 gallons in here. Even if I'm not going to use that, I still have 26 gallons. I don't have to turn the hot water heater on. If I just turn on, the hot faucet when the pump's on, I'm going to get that other 6 gallons of water. So I would carry that whole 6 gallons with me, or the whole 26 gallons. And 26 gallons, by the way, maybe I said this earlier, that's 217 pounds of weight. But again, that still gives you 1,000 pounds of other cargo weight, which chances are you're not going to use anyway. I wouldn't. I'd be a little concerned about loading this thing up to 3,700 pounds, just weight distribution and everything else. So that's that side of the unit in those controls. Let me button that up, clean things up a little bit, and then we'll go through some of the other appliances. Okay, so we've got this back rearranged here. Let's get back to the process here. So you've got built-in blinds here that move up. So you've got your little sunroofs there that are over your table and seating area. Again, we got LED lighting right here built in. Got another shade on that. Here's your fan right here. You would unlock that, and then you could twist that up to get your fresh air, and then your 3-speed fan. It's not too bad. It makes a little bit of noise, but if you're sleeping, a little bit of white noise, it doesn't hurt, that's for sure. But so there's your 3-speed fan. You want to make sure this is all the way down and locked before you travel, because of the way that vent is at. The air is going to try and get underneath that thing. You want to make sure it's, it's totally locked into place. Let's go around here. Got a 3-burner propane grill. When the glass is kind of like your backsplash, it's a nice size. I mean, that it's a lot bigger than a lot of the other ones that I've seen, and I think you pop these buttons off, take these little screws out, and you could lift that up for further cleaning. But that's a nice little unit. 3-burner unit. There's your hot water, or your, not hot water, there's your sink. So this is the only spot that's using water on the inside, and like I said, that's going to drain out to that side cap, and you just have a hose there with some kind of a gray water tank. Right here's your water pump, so you're going to pop that on to get your water. Here's your 3-way refrigerator. I believe this was a 2.9 cubic feet refrigerator, Dinette, if that's how you pronounce it. So it's a nice little unit. Still probably gonna have a cooler if I want to have some ice and stuff, but if you put stuff in there cold, and then when I get there, turn it on and let it run off of propane, and it would run for a long time on that propane. So lock that in place. Here's some storage under here. It's a decent amount of storage right in this main spot here. There's just a little bit down here maybe for some bottles or glasses or something. One nice thing you can see here, that it has a water filtration system. So when it's pumping out of the main tank, it's going to go through this filter. And so like the tech that I went through this unit with at the dealer was saying, it's the kind of thing where you probably put the filter in, use it all year, and then throw it away and get another filter next year. Unless you're really doing a lot of camping, that should be more than adequate. So there's our storage there. Then on this side, again, the Dinette air conditioner with a heat pump built in. From the service gentleman, once again, he was saying that if it's above like 56 degrees outside or something, is when you could use like the heat pump kind of stuff. Other than that, you're going to have to go with full AC or heating, or your furnace. Here's our other speaker. So we have 2 speakers on the inside. Down there is your coax cable connector for your television, which we saw outside. Here's our inverter right here. As you can see, LED light inverter is on, so you would just press that, and I don't know if you can hear that in my microphone, but the inverter just kicked on in the back. So now I have 110 volts at those outlets. So let's shut that down, and let me pull out my little sheet of wonders here, because we want the information that not everybody's going to give you, right? And I'll go through some of these at the very end just to tell you, but I'm looking real quick. Interior, the inverter is a WFCO 5110 true sine wave inverter. It is 1,000 watts continuous use with a 2,000 watt surge. So 1,000 watts at 120 volts, you're looking at about 8.3 amps. Definitely not enough to run the microwave or the AC unit, but 8.3 amps, you're going to be able to, run your chargers and run a television and, all those different kind of things. So that's nice. It's nice to have that. You don't have to buy it. Inverters aren't cheap. It's not like they threw it in for free, but it's nice to have it for sure. Here's another storage down here. I got some liners and stuff. And as long as I got this out, I'll show you real quick. This is actually, here we are, Thermosoft, 120 volt, 150 watts. So it's just a little over an amp. But it's a mattress heater. This mattress up here, I think, is about, I don't know if it's quite a queen or whatever, but the pad the top pad has a heater in it. So if you had 110 volts and you didn't want to crank your heat up or whatever, you could turn that on and heat up the bed. There's the little water heater right there, and the knob to put that part on and off. There's a bunch of lining I got. The lining I got not so much for lining the shelves or the cabinets or anything, but when you think about it, if you have some things you don't want to be banging around when you're traveling, this stuff is cheap. You could wrap that item or a pile of items or whatever. You could wrap them in this or put some of this in between, and it would just keep them from banging and scratching and doing whatever. So that's what I got that for. And then of course here's our microwave. It's a smaller microwave, but it's nice. It'd be nice to have for those times when we got 110. If I look on my stats here, let's see if I can find it. Dinette table, 3-speed fan. It is a fantastic fan up on the ceiling there that we had looked at earlier, and it draws 3-speed fan amps on high, so that's 3 amps DC. Okay, so and I'll get into some of the more of those stats later. I'm leaving that open because I need to show you something else that's going on down there. Here's your controls for your Dinette controls for your furnace and your AC. So here I could just pick, if it was too hot or too cold, and it would turn on the heater or it would turn on the AC, whatever I wanted. Down here we've got a light. This is a little light, so when you're coming in the door, if it's dark and you can't quite see, you could reach up and turn that little floor light on so that you can get in. This one over here turns on your Wi-Fi range extender, the one that we saw outside, and then it shows you like what IP address it'll be at and its standard password, which isn't bad. I mean, I do IT for a living. This isn't a bad idea. It's using like the serial number of the unit, and then that number kind of matches the IP address that it's using, and then it uses part of that serial number in the actual password, so that not every one of them is going to be the same. So that's a good thing. A couple of USB charge ports here. I think they're both 2 amps, which is what you would need when you're doing like tablets. Those are going to take more than phones. A nice fire extinguisher here. I like that. That's pretty cool. Here's our stereo system. It's kind of hard to see in the light here, but so it's a static. You might be able to hear the static. It's an AM/FM system. It has an auxiliary in. You can see it's got like an HDMI in. I don't know if that's so you can like plug your TV in and use this audio system for your television, but it's got an auxiliary in here. It's got a USB. My understanding is you can click USB up here and put a thumb drive in here that has like music on it, and it will play. But it is Bluetooth, so the nice thing about that is once your phone is paired with it, you can use your phone or tablet to play your music, which is what most people nowadays do, or stream Spotify or Pandora or something. So that's a nice little system. I have not played with it yet. My understanding also is that you can shut off that outdoor speaker if you want, so that everybody doesn't have to hear your music, So, all right, let me lift this bed up, or we're going to lift this bed up and look under there, and then I want to talk about. I want to pull this cabinet out and show you underneath there, because that has to do with the solar power, and it will answer some questions about that as well. So hang in there for a second. Let me get rearranged, and we'll continue on. Okay, here we are. We just went over the bed. Like I said, I don't know if this is quite a queen size or what it is, but it says it's got a heated foam mat in it, and I showed you that controller. We haven't even taken the plastic off of this, but if you lift this up, you'll see there's hinges on there, and this has also got, you can see where there's something attached right there. That's because it has a lift. It's got a lift in it, which is super nice. here's this big storage area down here. I'm going to grab the camera so you guys can take a little better look. Pull that off. All right. So here's that big storage area. And right now they give you this small little porta potty with it. And then that bag's got the barbecue grill in it, and there's the extra table and like a spatula kind of thing they give you. But there's a big storage area under there, which is really nice. Then over here, this is screwed down. It's not really much to see there because that's where your big AC unit and heat pump unit is. There's not really any space to mess with anything under there. And trying to think, the inverter's buried under there. I have not taken that apart to see what that looks like. I will at some point because there's some other wiring I want to do. There's some add-ons I want to do, and hopefully I'll have time to make videos on that. But this is really nice. The fact that it's got this lift on it, so it'll hold that mattress up and you can get to that stuff. You can put bigger stuff in there that won't fit through that hole outside, so that's a bonus as well. So that's a good storage space. Now we were talking about that storage space outside that has the sliding drawer in it, that you're only getting 2 cubic feet out of 8.1 cubic feet. That's back there on the other side of that hinge. If I put this back down, I put that right there in that back panel. So see, there's no way to get to that from the inside. So it is a bit of a stretch if you're, putting your arms in there, or if something's way in the back. But boy, for 6 more cubic feet of space, I don't think that thing's going to be in there very long, at least for what I do. So again, we've got the big window in the back here with the blinds that retract. You grab those, pull those up, you got a nice big window there, laying in bed looking at the stars, or whatever happens to be going on. Not gonna say. Here's your other light, another LED light, so you're not using very much power there. There's hooks built into here. There's 4 of them because there's supposed to be like a little hanging shelf thing there. I don't know if I would actually use it, but I've seen it in other videos, but they didn't have any with this trailer, so I'm not real sure what's going on there. There's your smoke detector, so that's good to have. Check that a couple times a year. And then this is a little bar that pops out like that. And really it's just for if you want to hang you need to hang a towel or some washcloths or something, or you've got you went somewhere and you got some dress shirts for some event or something you're going to do. You could hang those up there and let the wrinkles come out. It's a little add-on, not a huge deal, but it's it's there. Something else. There's some side storage there above your head, so if you had a book or something and you're reading and you're done, you could reach up and drop it in there, that kind of thing. You can see I've got the screens open. Nice big windows. I really one of the things my wife really likes about this is that when you get inside and you open up the curtains and you open up the windows, it's not claustrophobic. You don't feel like you're just sitting in a shoebox or something. And then, like I said, this window opens. Sorry about the spin. This window's got a small section that opens right here, and then the door also has a vent that opens, or you could do the half door like I was talking about. There's the hound dog out there enjoying the springtime sun, or you could run the fan. You can see that it comes with curtains, some privacy curtains. Those are just Velcroed here, so you pull that Velcro off and then those come down, and then they have Velcro on the back to Velcro to the other side. So you just pull those up, roll them up a little bit, stick them back. So that's nice. You can have your privacy, but you can still let the sun in and everything. So I think that's the general walkthrough. I did want to talk about this drawer down here, so let me pull that out real quick. All right. So like all drawer slides, there's a couple little releases on the side that you can press on, and that lets you pull the drawer out. But what we wanted to get to, if we can see, it's get the camera to adjust. There we go. Is there's wiring under here. If I pull this out, you will see. Oop, I'm sorry. That was seasickness, I'm sure. So you'll see this one here, a black and a red. That, if I'm not mistaken, I got to double check that, but I think those are your wires to your solar on the roof. Okay, and then there's another set of wires in here. I don't know if I'm going to find them without making everybody sick. There's another set of wires under here. There they are. There we are. We've got this set of wires here. And I think those, because they look like they're a little heavier, I think those go to your battery. So the object, the reason they did this was there's space right here on the wall. And what you would do is it comes out here, and you can see there's space here. And this is where they tell you to put your battery charge controller. And I found a couple of nice ones. Gosh, I can't think of the name of the company. Renology, I think it is, or something. They make a nice flush mount one. But the object is you cut your hole here, you mount your flush mount charge controller, which is going to show you your battery status and your solar input voltage and all that good stuff. And then you got your wires here. You plug this in to your to the inputs for the solar, and then you take the other one, wherever that is, this one here, and plug that in as your wires to your battery. And so it's pre-wired for the solar controller. And that was one of the things I really liked, and I think that's part of the ESP package, is that I don't have to do any roof penetrations, which is, you're always asking for a little bit of trouble if you don't do that right. And it would probably void your roof warranty if you did it. So I don't have to do that. You've got all this wiring here. It's ready to go. So I've already, I've got like an Amazon list of add-ons and things I want to do, and I have my 100-watt panel and my charge controller and some other little bits and bobs to make that happen. So I really like that. I think that's a great feature, that I don't have to do any floor penetrations or roof penetrations to get my solar working. So let's move on, and I think we're going to wrap this up and just get into some of the stats. Okay, let's take a minute and just hit some of the other things that were on my list that I wanted to know about that I didn't get from the other videos, that I had to look up in the manuals and stuff like that. We talked about 26 gallons of tank. There's no gray water or black water tanks. 26 gallons of water storage, 20 in the tank, and 6 in the hot water heater. It's got the bypasses for winterizing, which is nice. It has a 30 amp, 110 volt hookup right here that we talked about. And I found a note in there that this is kind of a little bit of an assumption on my part, but when that's plugged in, I believe this refers to a 35 amp converter that has a built-in battery charger. So my understanding of that would be that it's creating 35 amps of DC through this 110, or supplying 35 amps of DC through this 110, and that has the battery charger, that unit does, that keeps the batteries topped off. So while it's doing that, it's also supplying the DC power for all of the DC things that are on the inside or outside, the lights, the USB chargers, the stereo system. So when you're plugged in, it's not drawing that power from the batteries to do those things. It's actually got 35 amps of DC power that it can supply the unit with. It is a 10,000 BTU AC unit with a heat pump built into it. Now, it's on a 20 amp breaker, and according to the manual, the AC unit draws 12 amps of power. Now, the gentleman that walked us through it and does the service on it was saying, you know, oh, if you were plugged in, obviously you got plenty of power. You're plugged into 30 amps and it only uses 12 amps of power. He didn't tell me it used 20 amps. I had to look that up. But his point was that you needed a 4,000 watt generator if you weren't plugged into shore power or AC. But if it's 12 amps, if it's drawing 12 amps, you know, it's going to spike when it starts. But if it's drawing 12 amps, then you only need like 1,500 watts of continuous power from a generator. So I'll have to do some experimenting with that. I have a WAN generator, inverter generator, one of the really silent ones that's actually supposed to be the Yamaha on the inside. It's the same internal components. It's just the shell and the electronics are different between the WAN and the Yamaha, and the price is a lot different. But I really like that unit, but it's supposed to put out 2,000 watts continuous. And if it's putting out 2,000 watts and this thing's only taking like 1,500, and it'll spike above 2,000 watts for when things start, I should be able to run this AC off of my little generator if I wanted to. It does get warm here. I mean, I'm in Colorado, but I'm in western Colorado. We can see the low hundreds here. So if I'm camping in the area, you know, I might want to do that. But I think you can run this AC unit off of 2,000 watt generator, not a 4,000 watt. Usually, though, when they say 4,000 watt, they're talking 4,000 spike, and then, you know, it's, I don't know, 3,200 watts or something continuous. But I think if you can do 2,000 continuous, I think you can run that AC. You're not going to run the AC in the microwave. You know, you're going to have a problem there. You're going to blow a breaker for sure. But I'm pretty sure you can, but I'm going to find out. The Propane Furnace is 19,000 BTUs, and it draws 2.7 amps of power. And that's going to be 2.7 amps at 12 volts because it's the fan, which is what's running, is going to run off the batteries. And if you're plugged into shore power, that's going to be providing 35 amps of 12 volt power. So anyways, it's 2.7 amps of 12 volt power and 19,000 BTUs on the furnace. All right. The siding and the roof material, this it feels like an aluminum or something. That's a Lamelux product, is what I found out. And of course, we talked about the warranty on that earlier. It said the 3-year structural warranty and a 12-year roof warranty. And that OSB we looked underneath, that was 25 years. So we got the dual propane tanks. Just for your own information, when they're full, they weigh about 38 pounds, and when they're empty, they weigh about 18 pounds. There should be a stamp on there that tells you what the dry weight is of the tanks. There doesn't seem to be, from what I can see, any good way to tell how full your tank's out without weighing them. So if you wanted to carry around a tank weigher with you, or have one at home so you could check your tanks, that's one way to do it. We got the double battery box. I got 68 amp hours on each wet cell. If you know anything about batteries, maybe I'll do something on that a little bit later when I do solar. It's 68 amp hours per battery, but you can only take half the power out of a wet cell battery. So in total, I really only have 68 amp hours of usable power. If I only had the one battery, I'd have, I'd have 34. So we got our MC4 connectors on the roof. When you're running off of the batteries and you got your solar and all that stuff hooked up, you can't run your AC or your microwave. Those do not have 12 volt options. They just run off of 110. And my understanding is that even if you turn the inverter on, the inverter will supply power to the outlets on the outside and the two outlets on the inside, but that wiring does not connect to the microwave and the AC. So even if the inverter's on, those won't run, which is a good thing because you don't want it overloading that inverter. You could screw that inverter up permanently. Okay, let's see. We have the solar connector on the front that goes straight to the batteries. We talked about the shower hookups, the spray hose, and so on. Let's see, we've got the stabilizer jacks. The stabilizer jacks, that's a 3/4 inch socket on the end of that. So if you want to know what you needed for that, is 3/4. My understanding is that the lug nuts on the wheels are also 3/4. I haven't checked that. We've got the fender flares on there. I think that's part of the ESP package as well. The 15-inch Mud Runner or Mud Rover tires. I thought they were Mud Runner tires. Aluminum wheels, 12 inches of clearance. Those tires are set to run at 50 psi. That's something to know and keep in mind. It is 3/4 inch lugs, torqued to 110 foot-pounds of pressure. We have the toy lock. We have our 440 watt solar panel that came with it. You can see there's a little bit of diamond plating around the bottom edge, and then there's some on the front edge. I like that. On the front, I wish that went higher up, you know, like halfway up for the rocks and stuff, but I'll take what I can get. I like that. We have our outdoor grill that's been pre-wired for gas and everything. Let's see, we talked about the refrigerator being 1.9 cubic feet of space. When it is on, if you turned it on DC, it would draw 10.5 amps. So that's a decent amount of power on DC. Again, I would probably, if I had AC, I'd run it on that, or I'd run on propane, because I want my batteries at night to run the fans and charge devices and have lights and stuff like that. So 3-speed fan on the top there. We've got our carbon monoxide smoke detectors, our heated mattress, stereo system, Wi-Fi booster. You saw we had the dual USB ports for charging things in there, and of course 2 speakers on the inside, 2 speakers on the outside. I think that's most of the details. I really wanted to know a lot about the DC side of things. I wanted to know how much all those appliances were pulling, so that if I decide to put some solar on there, I'm going to start out with a 100-watt solar panel probably on the roof, but there's a good chance if I do more boondocking, which I would like to do, I'll extend that bracket out with a little rest or something on the top, and I'll run 200 watts up there. So anyway, that's all the information. A lot of stuff. I spent a lot of time doing my research through. I really like this unit. Obviously, I haven't taken it out yet, but I've gone through a lot of the things. I'm just now getting it all set up, and ordered some stuff. I'm going to add some other 12-volt outlets and stuff on the inside, and I'll probably do some videos on that. But I really do like the high clearance and the aluminum rims. So you're not going to get all that rusting and everything. So I'm fairly impressed with the unit. There's some stuff they could do a little bit better, but you're going to find that in anything that you purchase. So again, this is made by Rockwood. It is the Forest River A122S ESP. I don't know what the rest of it stands for. 122 might be the 12, might be the length, because again, that was 12 feet of occupiable space. And then the ESP was the Extreme Sports package, which added some of those other features on. So I really hope this was informative, that it was better than the other stuff that you see, and that you got to go underneath and you got to see all these little pieces that they don't talk about, which is fine. They've got 100 RVs and campers and stuff that they need to know something about. And as when I did ask my reps, they didn't know every little detail, because they gotta work with all these campers. So I hope you got something out of that. Please give the video a thumbs up if you found that it was useful. If you have any comments or anything, I'd be glad to read those. If you have any questions, stuff I didn't answer, maybe something that you want to know, if do I know it, or can I find it out? Please let me know. And then hopefully I'll do some videos when I'm out camping and do some of my upgrades, and you'll get to see those as well. So there you have it. I hope you get something similar. I'm going to enjoy it. So until next video.